Don't do a spit take. Don't do a spit take.
Hi, I'm good. So good.
Are you? Are you really good?
Yes, I'm really good.
How about now?
How about now? Yeah, I'm still good. Still good.
Still now? How about now?
Now. Yep.
Right, meow?
Right, meow. Never say that ever again.
Have you not watched Super Troopers?
No, I have.
Okay, meow. Welcome to First Watch Rewatch, the show where one of us has seen a season of TV and the other
absolutely hasn't.
This, our third season, we're discussing Dexter Season 1, and tonight we're starting with the pilot episode, and only the pilot episode. So let's knife right in.
Oh, I like that. Knife right in.
This episode opens up with no intro, no musical cue. It just goes right for the jugular in the opening moments. Dexter is stalking his prey, and if you didn't know he was a serial killer, well, you do now. So welcome in, everyone, to this season where we discuss probably the most, I would say, horror-adjacent, without actually being horror, thing that we're likely to cover on this show, because I'm a namby-pamby.
True.
That being said, I am the one who has watched this before.
Yes.
And the other person hasn't. Who's much more, let's say, horror-curious.
Horror curious? I wouldn't say I'm horror curious. I would say I'm into it. I actually went for an extended period of time where I actually did not watch horror. Like, I pulled back and was like, I'm done with the genre, because I felt like it jumped the shark, essentially. But yeah, now
Which is a very dated reference from about 50 years ago, folks, in case you don't know.
Correct. But the guy involved in jumping the shark actually is involved in, like, the resurgence or the horror renaissance back in 1996 with Scream, so it's fine.
Yes, as he's one of the dead bodies.
Yes, he is.
Spoiler alert for a 30-year-old film.
Right. Yeah, so I essentially like horror. A horror TV show, at least a horror TV show that's this old, is an interesting concept. And I was thinking about, why didn't I watch this when it was out? And there's several reasons why I didn't watch it when it was out. The first being it was on cable, so I didn't have access
Sure.
to cable.
This would have been what? You were in college?
So I would have just out of college, but it took me a long time to finish college. So go ahead.
Well, I was just going to give everybody a reference point here. This debuted on October 1st, 2006.
Right.
I myself was a sophomore? No. This would have been the beginning of my junior year. That's right. This would have been the beginning of my junior year of high school.
Right. So I had been out of high school for almost 10 years at this point, but I had graduated a year before in March of 2005, because I took a lot of time off from during undergrad to work full time and decide degrees, whatever. Okay.
You went on a fishing boat with Dirty Dick.
All of that type of stuff. Yes. So.
And that is actually a real story, because my boyhood pastor, Pastor Bauer, used to tell us all of these confirmation stories of the time that he took sabbatical from seminary to take 2 years on his motorcycle with his giant mullet and went on a fishing boat with the first mate whose literal nickname was Dirty Dick. And you're expecting a class of 7th graders not to repeatedly laugh at this.
But maybe that's why he told you, because you were 7th graders and he wanted somebody to laugh. Because I would have done the same
I still
thing.
got in fights with him about theology.
Oh, God. Okay. So I'm thinking about this contextually. So 2006. So I had graduated March of 2005. My brother died at the end of the summer in 2005. So
this would have been real fresh then.
This would have been very fresh. Exactly. And then February of 2006, I had my first corneal transplant because I was about to go blind. And then I was about to also have my second corneal transplant 30 days after the premiere of the show. So even if I had cable, I wouldn't have been able to have watched anything physically because I couldn't see anything. And the panic attack that I had during my first corneal transplant surgery would have precluded me from watching anything particularly stabby at the time, because I was pretty freaked out by what was going on. Like, so my dad came and took care of me, and like we watched Star Trek movies on Laserdisc because my first husband had a Laserdisc, and I could just see colors, and my dad would like narrate everything. He'd be like, okay, and so Spock is walking down to the bridge, and then, you know, I'd hear Leonard Nimoy say his words, and then he'd be like, okay, and now Captain Kirk's turning to the side, whatever, because I couldn't see. So that's the context for this. I'm trying to think what else was going on in the world at the time.
For reference sake, I didn't pick this up until about 2010.
Okay. I mean, still relatively recent. I mean, this is now 20 years later where I'm finally watching it, so.
Not quite, but yeah, just about. We'll cross the barrier where this was in real time about 20 years ago here in the next couple months, but about 6 weeks. Mm-hmm. I would guess that we'll do that during the course of this season. We'll cross that barrier.
Probably.
But I picked this up my junior year of college because I had a roommate who really loved this show and then wanted to get several of my other roommates to watch it. So I ended up, I can't remember if Dana was paying for HBO and Showtime at the time, but I basically was able to catch up after the fact, something to that effect.
Okay.
And I breezed through it. That was about season 4, where it's the infamous one with John Lithgow, which I won't get too far into. Like, the first 4 seasons to me of this show are fairly unassailable as far as quality. 1, 2, and 4 are like the best ones, and it's frankly between 1 and 4 is the best seasons of this show. Okay. I thought it really lost steam about 5, 6, and 7, and I have famously never watched the finale of this show. It is the only episode of the original
the series
run.
Finale. You're
Correct.
Talking about the series
of
finale.
The original run. I have never watched the finale episode.
Okay.
With that in mind, they did one kind of reboot season, and now they're doing another reboot show.
Okay.
Because they just are like keep returning to this material. And if it's written well, I probably should go back and reintroduce myself and pick up where some of the other stuff was from before and so on and so forth. Mm-hmm. But the way that this show jumps you into it, I think, was very intriguing. And for somebody who is a gold dip wuss, as I refer to myself often when it comes to like scary stuff and violence, I don't know what it is about this show, but I really never, there's only like a couple of times where I really felt uneasy, like it was too problematic for me. And I can't exactly remember when those were, but I do remember roughly what was happening, and I don't think any of them are this season. So it was kind of like this is going to happen. I'm going to be a little bit scared, but I'm going to move past it because we're going to get back into it. And frankly, after watching the pilot back again for the first time in, probably 15 years, like, there's not a whole lot of horrific things. I mean, yes, there's some violence and some other stuff, but this acts more as a vigilante kind of crime show than it does necessarily a horror show.
Yeah.
Which I think is why I kind of was able to justify that, being able to watch it in my own mind.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's a fascinating concept, and I think thinking about it on paper, it should have been something that I was watching contemporaneously, but obviously real life was happening and made it so that I absolutely could not. And then I think it just got to the point where it had been so long since it had come out that I was just like, I'm
sure.
sure
Because it's
I'll
been
get
off
around
the
to
air
it.
for, I would say, probably at least a good decade before I got the reboot a couple of years ago.
So it's interesting because there is actually would you call it a horror show? It's a puzzle show. I don't know. Called The Following with
I watched that too.
With Kevin Bacon. Now what did you think of that show?
Oddly enough, I enjoyed it, and I think between Kevin Bacon and the other guy who was the cult leader, like serial killer, which that had much bigger elements of horror in it, to be sure. The other guy in that, I can't remember, it's like James Purefoy or something like that?
Yes, he's real good.
Yeah, he's excellent in that show. Kevin Bacon was really, really good in that show. I liked that show.
Okay.
But
okay.
It definitely had a lot of violence in it. I'm not sure why I made it through that show, but I did.
Well, it had what, 1-2 seasons maybe? So I watched that show with my ex-husband, who bigger wuss than you, and somehow he managed to handle it, but we were also scared watching that show. We were like, oh my god, this is horrifying, like the implications, and it's not because you see a ton, but the build up and the explanations of things that are going on were so terrible. Also, there's children in danger, which is horrifying as well.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember, I remember just sitting there just going, oh god. So like terror, but not horror, psychological type of stuff. So, but like Squid Game season 3, I hated because of the baby component. I think I told you this, that I was just like,
I've never finished it.
Oh, there's a baby in danger in that, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I can't. I watched it with Keely, and she was like, this is great, and I'm like, I can't. I hate this. So I don't know. There's kids in this first episode. Okay, so how are we gonna approach?
Well,
this?
let me approach it from this angle, okay? And you had a lot of choices. It was down to basically this and The West Wing when we picked the first thing we were going to do.
Right.
So you were already intrigued when you had a ton of other options on the table.
Yes.
I gave this back to you again, kind of figuring you would go in this direction for this one, and we'd try and get at least the first season out of the way. Knowing that you really enjoy these kind of puzzle box, and frankly, the first season is very puzzle box.
I do love the puzzle box, yes.
Which we'll get to.
Okay.
But why did you ultimately gravitate towards this?
Because we had talked about this during our Good Wife season, moving into a different genre, right? And so for me, that's ultimately what it came down to, that I was absolutely interested in the other shows that you had presented. I had been interested in lots of other shows when we first talked about the concept of the podcast. And it felt like, okay, so we had political drama with West Wing, and we loved it, and legal drama with Good Wife to varying degrees of success. And this one is so completely different that we'll just kind of have to see. Horror adjacent or horror overlap, still dealing kind of with like crime and legal things, but not anything that you or I have any personal experience with, right? So like we both have some personal experience with like political stuff and with lawyering and things like that. And so this, I feel like, is so outside of our own backstories, I guess. So
yeah, there is not likely to be heavy Tom rants this season.
No. Oh, there were so many last season.
Well,
lots
and the
lots
first
of
season too,
soapboxing.
frankly.
Well, but I mean, I feel like first season with West Wing, we were being very philosophical and like
Sure.
more analytical, about things. I mean, that really got my brain going in terms of the things that we were discussing. And first season of Good Wife ended up being, well, okay, and I think I admitted this. It wasn't as good as I remember. Okay. And I went and started watching the first few episodes of season 2 and was like, oh, I texted you, this is where it's getting good for me. This is reminding me why I really enjoyed the show. We're starting to move into the direction of what made me love the show, whereas I enjoyed the first season when I first watched it. But rewatching it with you, I was kind of mortified that it wasn't as good as which is kind of the point, right? Is it as good as we remember? So,
well, that is to be fair. Okay. Now, I remember telling you at the end of last season's finale, when we were briefly discussing this, that at least the first season is adapted from a novel.
Right.
And it is Jeff Lindsay's Darkly Dreaming Dexter.
Right.
Every other subsequent season is an original storyline and such. Like, they quickly divert from the book. And the original showrunner for this exits after season 4. At some point, if we get that far into the series, I would like to tell you the alternate theory of this show and where it might have gone, because I actually think it would have been really worth exploring, but
okay,
we'll get to that maybe down the line.
Okay,
I have that one tucked away very safely for what this show could have been. One of the things that I think people have a difficult time with, though, at some point, is the notion of the narration in shows or in TV or movies, etc.
Okay.
And often you see it most commonly in things that are adapted from books, because there is that omnipotent narrator kind of situation. Now, there are scenes that happen in this show that are outside of Dexter's purview, but he ends up self-narrating a lot of stuff, especially when he's stalking or hunting, as he puts it. How did you take kind of this opening monologue narration as we kind of interjected right into, oh, he's out stalking prey, basically, right from the get-go?
So I wasn't put off by it, but I did make note of it to myself, going, okay, we've got some voiceover, and it doesn't seem to be bad. Because there are definitely movies where the voiceover stuff in Blade Runner, for example, it's so highly controversial, it either makes or breaks the movie for people, whatever. This is one of those situations where I'm like, okay, I get that this is a way to do a lot of exposition, right? And this is essentially, it's a lot of telling about things before showing things, which is not necessarily bad. And I think when we have a character like Dexter, who is so morally questionable, trying to do this without narration may not have been effective. It gives us the immediate insight into how weird things are, not just with him stalking someone at the beginning, but even when he's talking about his sister, his foster sister, but his sister, but his not sister, and what is their relationship like? And she's the only person who loves me, and if I had any feelings, I would have feelings about her. But then you're like, but what would those feelings be, Dexter? Would it just be she's your sister, or is there something else going on? Because he clearly doesn't have normal social understandings, right? The way that he so very starkly explains his girlfriend Rita and her background and why she's the perfect person for him to date, because she's not interested in sex, because she was repeatedly raped and abused, and so therefore there's no expectations for them to have sex. Of course, we already know that him merely saying that means that it's going to become an issue. So I didn't have a problem with it. What I did have a problem with was not quite understanding what was going on. I think there was some continuity or explanation issues that I was missing on the first watch. So I'll be real honest with you. First watch, and I purposely did not text you because I right away was like, uh-oh. I'm not uh-oh. And it wasn't because of the narration. It's because I had no buy-in. Everything was going off, it felt like, in a million different directions. And I was like, I need to watch it again before I make a decision. Because if it was just based on one viewing, I was ready to be like, what's the big fucking deal? I don't give a shit.
Okay.
So, I have some more thoughts. But here's something else I wanted to say. I know that there's some people who are excited that we're doing this because they've been listening to the show. This is one that they've seen. I just happened to be at the dentist on Friday, had a lovely laughy time conversation with my hygienist. Let me tell you, it is amazing going to the dentist and laughing a ridiculous amount while your mouth is being assaulted. But my hygienist, Tiffany, hi Tiffany, if you are listening, talked a lot about all kinds of things, movies, horror stuff. I said, oh, hey, I'm doing this podcast. We're going to do Dexter. Oh my God, you haven't seen Dexter? No, I haven't seen Dexter. She's like, oh my God, I can't wait for you to talk about it. I want to know. I got to know. And I was like, well, yeah, we're going to start it. And she was like, okay, but I don't want to ruin anything. What did you think of the first episode? So I actually barfed my guts out to her about my thoughts. And she was like, okay, you didn't like it. Guess what? I didn't like it either. She's like, you got to get through the first episode and then it's going to get so good. So thank you, Tiffany, because I gave it another chance and watched it yesterday. And I can see some of the conversation that she and I had of like, okay, I can see where this is going and I'm going to have a little bit more buy-in for it. But it was a turn off for me on first watch. And she had said the same thing for herself when she first watched it. So
I think the way it interjects you without a whole lot of backstory into the first killing, the first stalking, and kind of takes you in that direction can be a little bit misleading. And it is moving through a lot of material pretty quickly. Because for, I think it's 50 minutes is the first totality of the first episode, roughly. It's moving through multiple dates, multiple crime scenes, multiple, I guess, blood work tech that's going on. And we're introduced to probably about 10 characters within a very short time span. So I get it. I think when I rewatched it, I was struck by, wow, we're moving through a lot of stuff pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And as much as I did remember about the pilot, because I think I've rewatched the pilot a few times. I tried to show this to Dana probably about 8 years ago or something like that. And
what did he think? No.
I mean, he was interested. I think my recollection of watching this for the first time is I was pretty well hooked like right away. And so I was willing to forgive it a little bit more. In response a little bit to what you were saying about him and his social aspect, there is so much about this show, and I think it's the thing that makes everybody interested outside of the like true crime serial killer nature of the show, which frankly a lot of women just are very enthusiastic about. It is the nature at which underwrites almost the entire series. Each season focuses on a different social aspect that Dexter feels to be missing, and how he grapples with those relationships, those social things that he seems to be missing in his experience.
Okay.
I won't reveal much about this first season and what that issue is because it would be way too telling of where this first season is going. But subsequent ones kind of continue along this progression of like one season it's about not having a father figure anymore and having a mentor and what it's for him to have a family, those types of aspects. And then, so it's got different things that it's always grappling with because he feels like such this clean slate that he's always removed from the human condition. And that's not always the case. He does evolve and he does somewhat grow throughout the course of the show, although as we continue forward, I think they ran out of room for him to expand his repertoire to a point where he doesn't have feelings or emotions towards particular characters in this show. Okay.
That makes sense. So I think one of the things was it was just a lot to be thrown out. I wasn't necessarily bothered by the opening killing. I was like, okay, he's killing someone. It seems to be justified. I already know what the premise of the show is, so fine. But I was very confused once we introduced this severed body parts thing, and then we're meeting his sister, but she looks like a hooker. Oh, she's an undercover cop in, like, the okay, that was so incongruous. It felt like he's just talking to a hooker in a very familiar way, which we didn't need to have. The setup was a little bit confusing. And then, but she doesn't want to be on Vice. She wants to be in Homicide. But if you're in Vice, you're kind of already in like, why is she obsessed with this? His dad being a cop. Okay, great. This other guy who's completely suspicious of him stalking the snuff film guy. I'm like, the first time I was like, wait, is that supposed to be the icebox kill? I don't understand what's going. It's not the same guy? Okay, wait. This head's flying off this truck. What the heck is going? It was so. How did he get the information about these other people that he's murdering, who are clearly he's being this vigilante? And no, hang on. And then it wasn't until the second viewing I was like, oh, Margot Martindale, that's the woman. But I didn't catch it the first time. And I love her. I've seen her in lots of things. I really, really enjoy her. But I was like, okay, he's having this sweet little conversation with her, but there's no actual transaction happening in front of us. And it was only me putting it together.
Yeah, it is and it isn't. I think you're trying to expect that all of the information is going to be presented to you right out front. And I
don't know. Not necessarily. I so overthought it that I was like, I can't piece things together on my own.
Yes,
and so
I would say that. I think
need everything, but I should at some point be able to have enough of a coherent narrative that I don't have that many questions, right? And that it was only me watching it a second time, which if I had been watching this contemporaneously, wouldn't have had the opportunity to do. And so I would have just been like, what?
So one of the things that has always, I guess, bugged me about the show is I recognize it's not the most crisply written show that we're going to ever discuss. Like The West Wing, as far as like rhetoric and what it's trying to accomplish and plotline, is far superior. Aaron Sorkin is a tremendously talented TV writer in comparison.
Right.
Stuff that's on HBO, whether it's The Sopranos or Succession or whatever, is much more superiorly written. This is supposed to be paid cable premium television, but for a much broader audience that doesn't care about a few things missing here or there and whatever else. So it is not by any stretch of the imagination going to be a clean or perfect way through this. And I would say that I agree with you that there were some things that were missing or that I would critique as far as a pilot. But and this is where I'm going to make my transition here. I've said on many occasions, I watch movies for plot and story. I watch TV for characters.
Right.
What I think this show does from the jump is establishes fairly good characters, which is why I had that buy-in initially. Right. So I'm not sure, but I'm going to throw this out. Do you find that there were some good characters to invest in?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely interested in the characters, even if I wasn't necessarily interested in the way that they were interacting, if that makes
Okay.
sense. Like, Dexter, I want to know more about his character. I'm wondering how much of it is I just don't particularly care for Michael C. Hall. There's not necessarily anything wrong with him. I watched him in 6 Feet Under so long ago, and he was kind of creepy in that show, and I liked it. So I kind of get why he's in this one, but I'm like, are we supposed to think he's hot? Is he supposed to be, like, intriguing? Am I... I know he's the
That's
main
entirely up
character.
to you, obviously.
Correct. And we have this whole true crime obsession thing now that's going on, and like idolizing serial killers and all of this type of stuff. I'm wondering how much this show helped shape that. And I think I'm going to be a little bit more detached because I don't find the actor playing Dexter attractive in any way, shape, or form. Just like doesn't do it for me. So I'm going to maybe not have a little bit of reaction that other people might. There's also this part of me that felt like he feels autistic to me, not just like sociopathic. And so I guess I'm waiting to hear some more of his backstory. He saw his parents get murdered in front of him? Or no? Yes? No? We don't know yet. Okay, we don't know yet. His foster father...
I would go into it, but there's a lot that gets... By the end of the season, you will definitely know the whole backstory to that.
Sure. So you didn't choose this, you weren't made this way, but you were made this way. So I'm interested in all of those things, but I'm not necessarily interested in what he's doing. He seems to be arbitrarily following this thing that his father laid out for him to do, how to control your urges. And yes, he's killing bad people, but why does he care? Is he really seriously only doing it because his dad said that's how he should do it? Because we see him getting mad at his 2 victims, but is he really mad? He just needs to kill people.
Okay, that's a fair critique.
And
I guess I never really questioned that portion of it.
Okay.
And part of the reason that, like, if the Michael C. Hall or the Dexter character, you don't end up rooting for it, I think this may be a tough watch. Like, I'll just say that from the jump. Like, the reason why I jump right into this is even though he's a serial killer, I always see him more as a vigilante than a serial killer.
Sure.
Because there is the justice angle to it. And it's not just about... Because, like, I'm not idealizing somebody, but rather I understand and appreciate the methodology of what he's trying to do or accomplish.
Sure.
So,
and it could be that part of the struggle that I'm having initially here is because of his reaction to the dismembered bodies. Oh, this is so amazing. And he's talking about how this person is an artist, and he seems to have some sort of weird arousal when he's talking to his girlfriend in the car, and he kind of grabs her. And so that seems to take on a different thing that isn't necessarily as white knighty as it could.
Oh, sure.
White knight-y, not a white nighty nightgown. But this means it's very complex, and I am very intrigued.
okay.
And I like that I have all of these questions. I want to know about his sister. I want to know about... I definitely want to know about the girlfriend. I want to know more about the dad. There's definitely... It's just enough, right, to whet my appetite. I definitely want more, but this was not a home run for me on the first episode.
Okay. So I would say there are at least, I guess, 4 primary environments to understanding this show.
Okay.
At least through this first season.
Okay.
There's the flashbacks,
Okay.
which happen a lot.
Okay.
Like, there's usually at least like 2 or 3 per episode.
Okay.
There's the precinct and his day job and his interactions with all of the other people in his workplace.
Okay.
There's his home life, which kind of manifests itself in Rita and his social interactions and in a personal way.
Okay.
And then there's him as the serial killer, the actual like stalking of the prey, the
vigilante
putting
shit.
people. Yeah. And there's usually some new prey of the week that he's going after throughout each one of these until it gets like late into the season where it usually revolves around some big bad or something else that's going on that he takes on. Usually there's like one alternative serial killer that he's always chasing per season that like becomes the central figure by the end, that like he kind of goes at mano-a-mano kind of situation.
And so that must be the ice truck killer that we're introduced to in the
Correct.
scene, because that is unresolved at the end of the episode. Okay.
Correct. That is the central mystery of the entire first season.
The thread. Okay. Got it.
But it also pulls together multiple other threads that are going on. So it will reward you by the time that we get to that near the end of the season.
Oh, here's a question that I had. So if he is psychotic or a sociopath or whatever, does he hallucinate things? You don't have to answer this. I'm just saying this out loud. Does he hallucinate things? Is he actually experiencing reality? Towards the end of the episode, when he opens the fridge and like there's the Barbie parts, was that a real thing? That he comes. Oh, okay. That was not clear.
You can choose your own adventure a little bit with this show.
Okay.
I think there is something to be said to a degree, whether it is in his own head, particularly because we have the narration.
Okay.
And if I were to present the alternate theory of what this show could have become by the end of it to wrap it up cleanly, that the original showrunner wanted to do, it was introducing why the narration is happening in the first place. And you could theoretically say all the stuff that's first person was just his perspective, and all the stuff that's not in narration is actual objective fact that is being pulled in separately. And you could watch the show that way, where it's interpreted like halfway by his knowings of what's going on, and the rest is like public record kind of stuff after the fact.
So kind of unreliable narrator, and then the real.
You could watch it that way, but the show, at least to me, has always been presented with him narrating the show, but being a reliable narrator for the most part.
Okay.
So the thing at the end actually does happen because it comes back in the second episode, which I started watching a little bit ahead, just again, so that in case stuff were to come up and I know where we're going, then I can at least keep a few steps ahead, as opposed to the West Wing the last time where I kept telling you stuff was going to happen that I was wrong.
Yeah.
So it's good from that standpoint. But let's just start with the flashbacks, okay? And I wanted to take each one of these sections and the characters individually.
Okay.
One of the most important figures in the history of the show is Harry Morgan and his dad and the influence he has on him. I mean, he's talking all about Harry's code, and there's these flashbacks of him as he's aged and kind of how he develops this certain thirst for killing, but at least it starts with animals and such. That was the neighbor's dog. We really only see younger Dexter, and we see Harry in these flashbacks. Obviously, Harry is gone in present day. They always talk about him in past tense. He's nowhere to be seen. I'm not really revealing anything that wasn't very clearly apparent as far as that goes. Mm-hmm. Eventually, we will get into the backstory a little bit of what happened to him and such. But
what happened to who? Harry or
Harry?
Dexter, okay. Like why he's not around anymore? Or what happened to him while he was raising Dexter?
Both.
Yes, okay. Okay. Got it.
That's not obviously like on Front Street here, and it's not central to what you need to know yet to invest in this show.
Sure.
But Harry's a very complex figure. He's obviously a beat cop. He's got this nature between I want to do good, but I also want to do good by this kid. And he has, honestly, if you were a foster parent and you saw this in a child, I don't know how many parents would have reacted this way, but there is a very obvious way in which Harry Morgan becomes the conscience of Dexter through the course of the show, and very much is the grounding structure of this. So what did we think of him to start
So,
here?
quick question, because I feel like it was addressed already.
Okay.
Dexter's a foster kid in this family, but he is adopted eventually?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's all right.
And if that isn't like, I mean, I'm not revealing anything that's unusual about it, but that will be very blatantly clear by the end of the season.
Okay. Yeah.
Because they very much get into the rest of the family issues and the backstory of how that all came to be.
Okay. And because obviously his sister, not his sister, they share the last name. You can see it on her uniform and all of that type of stuff. So I'm just like, okay, so he legally becomes, he's legally part of this family. Even if it's just a name change, it doesn't have to be adoption. You could change your name to whatever you wanted, blah, blah, blah. Okay. The dad, okay, there's not a ton of information about the dad yet, other than he's a cop, other than he obviously had a good relationship with Dexter, but a complicated relationship with Dexter, which as a parent resonates with me quite a bit. Not because my daughter's a psycho killer, but like the things that, but thinking about the lengths that you would go to protect and nurture someone that you deeply care about. And that doesn't have to be even someone as a teacher, that doesn't even have to be someone that you've given birth to or that is blood related. I'm curious to see more of him on screen and things happening rather than just people talking about him as a character. So little bits and pieces that the sister, I'm just going to keep calling her sister because I can't remember her name. The sister, Deb, okay. Talking about him, her weird thing that, okay, she's over here. And Dexter talking about the code of Harry or whatever it is, which is why I questioned, is he actually, does he give a crap, or is it just because he's following a set of rules that was given to him, so he's just carrying it out and it doesn't matter? Because I haven't been given enough information yet, but I'm definitely intrigued, if he's a foster kid, how this enmeshment happens, because it makes a lot of sense if this is his biological child, and it makes less sense if it's a foster child, because this is definitely the type of thing that would get you kicked out of foster care and just like immediately incarcerated. So I am waiting to see what's going on in Harry's mind and how all of this is justified. Like that alone. So concept of the show, serial killer as vigilante, great. But the concept of foster father nurturing and taking a highly problematic psychotic child under his wing and like deciding this is a relationship that I'm sticking with when he doesn't have even a legal obligation is very intriguing to me. That's more interesting to me, actually.
And fostering and honing his particular set of skills.
Yes, exactly. Not trying to suppress it, but like focusing it. Yes. So overall, I want to know that story less than I want to know serial killer of the week type of stuff. Because that's the character component, right? I want to know how that character stuff happens.
Okay, I should have probably done this at the top, but I'll just take us quickly through this. This is episode 1 of season 1, titled Dexter, directed by Michael Cuesta, written by James Manos Jr., original air date of October 1, 2006. Synopsis: Dexter Morgan, Michael C. Hall, is introduced as a serial killer who kills other killers who have escaped from or haven't been found by the justice system. By day, he is a blood spatter analyst who works for the homicide department of the Miami Metro Police. Dexter has a quasi-relationship with Rita Bennett, Julie Benz, a similarly troubled divorcee, raising 2 young children while her former husband is in prison. One day, Dexter is called to a murder scene involving mutilated bodies, but with no blood visible. The murderer, soon to be nicknamed the Ice Truck Killer, intrigues Dexter with his intricate methodology and a personal message in the form of a mutilated doll. At the same time, Dexter's hard-nosed sister, Deborah, Jennifer Carpenter, a Vice Squad officer, tries to gain a transfer into the homicide department. A lot of what was addressed in that synopsis has to do with where I'd like to take us next, which is the precinct.
Okay.
We get introduced to, at least in my mind, 5 other major characters throughout the course of the show.
Okay.
LaGuardia, the lieutenant.
Okay.
Angel, who is pretty much there from start to finish.
Okay.
James Dokes, who is the guy that doesn't like him.
Okay.
The captain, Matthews. Masuka, who is the other tech, the Asian guy.
Okay. Yep. Okay.
And then obviously his sister is incorporated in all of that. So those 5 plus Deborah added back into the equation. This forms one of the pillars of the show, is the lab work, the structure of how they interact, them at crime scenes, how their interactions go, who likes whom, what's the politics of this situation. LaGuardia is hot for Dexter, but she hates Deborah for some reason. Dokes can't stand Dexter, but he's somehow got this interpersonal relationship with LaGuardia. None of them seems to like Matthews, but he served with Harry, so he's sweet on Deb. All of these various different items that are going on during the course of this first episode. So as we kind of go through these characters, which one, I guess, was the most intriguing, or which one made you take most notice?
Okay, so I'm intrigued by the sister just because she's seems like a chaos agent like me. Like,
You're not wrong.
Yeah. So she just, yeah, I may have seen too much of myself in that character.
Does that make me Dexter in this scenario here?
I don't know. Let's not go there. I was intrigued that, like, people's names are too complicated. LaGuardia, the woman, yeah. So she does that little wink at the beginning, and he's like, "Oh God, why does she do that? This is a weird mating ritual." And I was like, "Ooh, intrigued." And like, she clearly is super into him, and I was like, "Oh." And then you juxtaposition that with Dokes. Again, these names are terrible. Who, like, is clearly like, "I see you, you're a creep." He doesn't trust him at all. So one person is like madly in love with him. This other person is like, he's a serial killer and like totally gets it. So I'm interested to see where that goes. But I think the sister out of those characters is the one that I'm most interested in, because, and I don't even know if it's necessarily because she's the sister, but just because she's just like pinballing all over the place. And why does she need to get into homicide so badly? She's basically there. If she chills the F out, she'll get there. Isn't that what Dexter tells her? Just be chill. Yeah.
Again, I guess I'm maybe the Dexter character here.
Maybe, yeah, just completely emotionally detached.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Doesn't get
Cool.
certain social cues.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Okay. Yeah. So I think Deb, but also Dokes is the most not family character. Is the family character that I most want to know more about, because we are essentially told as the audience right away that he kind of knows what's up. But why does he know what's up? Why does nobody else know? Right? So what is he seeing about Dexter's behavior that the others are not picking up on? Or is he just an asshole who doesn't like him for whatever reason? Because that could be a thing too.
It's very possible. let's move to the third place,
Okay.
which is, I guess, the home life or the personal life. We haven't seen him interact with Deb much outside of police work or police procedural, so I'm going to leave that there. Mm-hmm. But really, the only one is he's got his side relationship with Rita and her kids.
Right.
Was there anything about this that you enjoyed, or were you kind of off-put by him? Excuse me. Having this relationship with her children when he's this killer.
I think we are supposed to give pause with him interacting with the kids. And here's why I didn't feel icky about it. Because by the time we see him interacting with the kids, he's already killed the child murderer. Is he a pedophile? We don't really aren't told. But the guy who kills the little kids. And Dexter very explicitly says, I totally get why you're a killer and that you have these compulsions, but I don't kill kids. And that's the difference between me and you. So we already know that he has a boundary that he will not, that at this point that he has stated that he will not cross. And so it makes us relax maybe just a little bit if we've been paying attention that he's not a danger to the kids. And the kids really like him. And for the most part, kids can tell when someone's full of shit. Okay? So them genuinely liking him while also acknowledging that he's kind of weird when he says, oh, might you, I tell you that you look lovely this evening. And she's like, okay. Right? But then also they all clearly like him. So I think that is one of the humanizing components. And yeah, I feel a little bit icky about it. But again, we haven't seen him do anything yet that would suggest that he would put them in harm's way. There are men who go after women who have been traumatized through divorce and abuse because they're easy targets to get what they want out of them. So there's a component of that where I'm like, but he also explicitly says part of the reason that I'm with her is so that I can appear normal, but also this relationship works because we don't have the expectations of a regular relationship. She is too afraid to have sex. I don't want to have sex. And I kind of don't know why he doesn't want to have sex. Is it just because he doesn't have urges? That's not really clear yet, but it's obvious that he doesn't quite understand how this all functions. Is he a virgin? I have this question. Like, he doesn't seem to even be comfortable kissing her or seeing her nude. He's just like, thank you, when she like disrobes in front. It's awkward and funny. But the relief on his face when the kid calls, or that she has to leave her planned sexual encounter because the kid has thrown up, and he's like, oh, go and be a good mom. I was like, oh yeah, this is going to be a problem for the whole season, is essentially what I got from this single episode. That this is going to be the recurring issue. She's going to be like, I'm finally ready, and he's going to be like, but I'm not ready, and she's going to take that as rejection. I guess this is me making some predictions, and that's going to put them at risk, because he does say, as long as we can not have sex, we're going to be fine, but if we try to have sex, it's going to ruin us. Why? Is he going to try to mutilate her? I'm not necessarily worried for her safety, but the sex is going to be a problem. Also, he's gross looking. I just don't...
Okay.
Not my type. Is there...
That's
okay,
fine.
I have a question. Is there...
You have more than one question, to be honest.
Is there, like, filters being done? Like, is that a normal component? I feel like some of the scenes look more crisp and clear, and then some of the other scenes feel like they're kind of, like, sepia-toned. Like, when he's talking with Deb outside while they're eating.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some spots, but it's usually the difference between him like stalking. Like early on in the show, there are definitely some darker, hazier scenes,
reds and
visually.
blues. Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't say that some of the exterior shots and when it's during the middle of the day are all that different.
Oh, okay.
At least, not that I noticed. I can't say that with 100% certainty, but
Okay.
nothing that I truly noticed. It really, the tone shift is when he's the predator versus when he's just about.
Sure. And there's... Is he taking his victims to the same place every time?
No.
Okay. And then he's not killing them in the same way every time. Or he is. He's obviously
the way he ties them up and the procedural aspect that he's going through is very similar. One thing that, and I don't think this is much of a spoiler, so I'm just going to let you know. The one thing about the Code of Harry is very much about trying to destroy evidence, how to get rid of everything, not get caught, keep some level of self-preservation. And that's why he's doing the plastic wrap, and he has them all saran wrapped to the table with like an industrial saran wrap. Mm-hmm. And he uses specific knives and how he's cutting things up. You will see the disposing of materials at some point. It hasn't been revealed yet, but very much the Code of Harry is also about how not to get caught. And so while he may not use the same knife every time, but the way that he does it with the cut on the cheek, those are very stylistically to how he's doing things, because that's why he has that case of blood. It's blood slides. Thank you. I kept wanting to say vials, and I'm like, that's not a vial.
So cut on the face, that hasn't been a thing yet because we don't see these bodies. So like, for example, with the kid guy, he's tied down and we're like, oh, he's fully nude, he's tied down. And then we see him and he has like the plastic shield that he flips down.
Sure.
And he's going over the head and he has a drill, and then he leans over and we don't see anything, and he takes the drill to the face and then cuts.
Yeah, it's not quite like that, but I
then
could have sworn that
the next guy, we still don't see what he does to his face. This time Dexter's face is wrapped in saran wrap in a weird, creepy sort of way. The guy's tied down the same way, and he seems to be carrying a knife because the guy killed with a knife. But then there's no anything other than like the slides. I was like, so serial killers are pretty methodical. So parts of this are methodical. But how is he actually killing them? We see him choke the kid guy in the car, but that's not how he kills him. It's a lot of... I'm sure all of these things are going to be answered. I just have a lot of questions.
There is a way and a pattern to how he does his procedural with it that will become familiar during the course of the show. Like, it is very obvious with certain signs of where he's going to go. And as you continue, like, it's always with some sort of injectable that he knocks them out usually. And that's the only time that I've really seen him with like directing somebody was the garrote at the beginning in the very early part of everybody else. He basically knocks them out and then takes them to wherever he's set up and then ties them down, has whatever, kills them that way with knives pretty much every time, and then disposes of the body.
Do we find out how he becomes a blood splatter person?
Yes.
Okay, great.
It will tie in by the end of the season why he's so interested in that specifically.
Sure.
So I hope I'm not revealing too much too early on with some of these things. I'm trying to be a little bit coy. Unlike with the West Wing, where I felt like the spoilers weren't going to really ruin the show, if I try and give you too many of the answers to these questions before the show starts really
because if it's a puzzle
giving
box,
you that stuff.
Right. And I'm recognizing that some of these questions I'm going to ask, and you should absolutely be like, I can't answer that. And it's okay for me to know. I just need to sit with it. A lot of times with these types of things, I have 1,000 questions and I'm just throwing them out there so I can purge them and then like refocus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's do a quick character rankings then. Like who's near the top, who's near the bottom. And you don't have to rank like every character in the show, although we have probably about 10 major ones and then maybe a few peripheral ones.
Oh my gosh. Like, what? And it's weird because I would maybe put Harry at the top for me, but he's been on screen for like maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes max. He certainly talked about a lot more, but he's the, as I already said, he's the character that I want to know the most about.
Sure.
Sister is number 2. Dexter would be number 3, just because I know that I'm going to get so much of his information because he's the main character and all of that type of stuff. So there's nothing wrong with him. I'm just fiending for the information about the other 2. Girlfriend's probably number 4.
Okay.
I'm waiting to see where that goes. She basically has 0 personality right now, and that's okay. She is literally a body taking up space. So this could very quickly become incredibly boring to me. And then I guess it's kind of just the rest of the people.
Let me ask it this way. Is there anybody that you vehemently dislike so far?
No, not in a West Wing hate what's-her-face kind of way.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
I can't think of her name.
We won't revisit that. I can't think of it. Mandy.
Mandy. And it's not like the way you felt about the mother-in-law in West Wing or The Good Wife and the Kids. I think... I guess I'm... what's the... the woman who likes Dexter. These names are dumb. LaGuerta. I guess that I'm irritated by this because that just seems to be a throwaway sort of thing. Like, okay, she's hot for him, whatever. Like, this is gonna go nowhere, and it's gonna create. This is the part of the problem, right? It creates these sort of sexual politics that I don't really like about people interacting in the workplace and stuff like that. Yeah.
So I won't ask you to make too many predictions from what we've gotten just from the pilot so far. What I will ask is, now knowing that the ice truck killer is going to be the central mystery of this first season, do you think we've already seen the ice truck killer on screen?
That is a great question. No, I don't think we have yet. Not yet. If it ends up that we have, whoa, there was nothing that stood out to me that could possibly indicate otherwise.
Okay.
I think it's still too early. I could be totally wrong. We've probably seen, and you're like, you're such an idiot, Sarah. He's right there. Or it's a woman. She's right there. It's not a woman, but yeah.
Could be.
No, it couldn't be. No. Serial killers are, by and large, white men.
Okay.
So out of the two of us...
Did you have any other predictions? I already made myself into the Dexter of this show.
Right. So, I mean, I said the sex with Rita, that's the girlfriend, is going to be like one of the central issues, clearly. That was highly broadcast. And if sex is one of the things that's going to be highlighted this season, maybe that's me also making a prediction that you said there are different social components, and maybe this one it's dating and sex. again, that's my prediction right now. I'm interested to see what I think after the next episode. I think maybe Dexter could be viewed as the ice truck killer. Maybe he could become a suspect just because he seems to be so interested in it. We obviously know that he's not the ice truck killer, but that could be a very easy shenanigans for a couple of episodes.
All right. I think that's probably good enough, at least for this first one. My last primary question for what our purposes are this evening. Do you want to do one at a time going forward? Did you want to do more?
I think having the first episode by itself good. I think probably having finale by itself good. We could do 2 moving forward because that gives us, there are 13 episodes.
Oh no, excuse me, you were right. It was 12.
So that means that there's going to be 2 by itself. So that's 10. So that gives us basically 5 episodes in between. So that would give us 7 episodes. 7 episodes.
7.
Yeah. Balls.
It's not the only thing you could juggle.
I know, but that's when it's middle schoolers doing it. I'm like, they're juggling testicles. Fair. So yeah, that would be 7 episodes. Unless you wanted to stretch it out more.
I'm comfortable at whatever pace, but you're the one who had problems with feeling like they were not staying with the show. And that's why I just wanted to, on your own comfort level, if you feel like this is moving too quickly for you and you may need to rewatch things, I didn't want to give you problems.
You know what? That's a great question. Well, you know what?
Let's watch 2 and 3 as prep. If you feel like 2's moving too quickly and you need to do these one by one, you can let me know in the middle of the week and we'll just kind of take it from there.
Yeah.
We're going to plan on 2, 3 next week.
Yeah. At the very least 2 for the audience. But yeah, we will prep for 2 and 3. Okay. Yeah, I think that works.
So crocodile and popping cherry.
Ooh. Oh yeah, I think one of the interesting components about the show is that it takes place in Miami, right? Mm-hmm. So it's supposed to be fun and beautiful, and I mean, there are plenty of...
Miami is for sure a huge character in this show.
Okay. And it's obviously a setting that's used in other like crime shows or things like that, which is fun. So I'm liking that we aren't in like DC, or I don't know anything about Miami other than like, ooh, the ocean's there and maybe I want to go on vacation there. Like, yeah. And then weird shit's happening.
I don't know at this point that you'd necessarily want to go there. It's like...
No, I'm saying just like in a very general, like the concept of Miami, not like the reality of Miami.
Right. If you're not from that neighborhood, like I can't see the intrigue for most people as just tourists or visitors after the age of about 35.
Absolutely. And I'm way over that age. So I'm like, oh, I'll never go there. Whereas I'm like, oh, definitely want to go back to Chicago. But
I went there when I was 18. I couldn't get into stuff yet. I could see the intrigue for people that like stuff that I don't, like nightclubs and all this random dancing and drugs. Lots and lots of drugs. But that shit ain't for me.
Well, it ain't for me either, but also I could do that anywhere else, too.
Well, that's true. You do live in Sin City.
That is true.
So that takes us to recommendations then.
Okay.
I am going to briefly talk about well, first off, Ted Lasso season 4. I don't think anybody needs a recommendation for that from me, but I've enjoyed it somewhat so far, but I think they're slow playing it a little bit too much for my likeness. And this is a season where they're reconfiguring the show and kind of reinventing it. So dropping like the first 3 in a row may have been more helpful, because they've done that in the past where they drop like the first 2 or 3 at a time, and then they do piecemeal the rest of the season. But giving us that first taste and how the characters have all changed and how the new format's going to be might have been a little bit better, just in my opinion. Okay. But that being said, it is by far Apple's most watched show coming back ever. So people, after 3 years, everybody catching it in the aggregate, it's a big show. Nobody needs my 2 cents on that really any more than I already have.
Right.
But another show that I know is popular, but I will put out there, I think it's season 4 now of Reacher on Amazon Prime. Good show. Alan Ritchson is great. He may be the next Batman. Don't know. I heard a rumor yet again today that he might be the next Brave and the Bold Batman for James Gunn. We don't know. But I enjoy that show, and since they're all based on books, at least right now, it's been good and entertaining every season of the show.
I watched the first season, super enjoyed it, and I think... Why did I stop watching it? I think it was like, I'm literally like, I probably had to do prep for something else, and then it got away from me. But I also recommend Reacher. Yes. I would say, if you like Dexter and you haven't seen The Following, you should absolutely watch The Following, because they are not the same, but they are similar. They're kind of in the same sort of universe. I'm trying to think. There's some other stuff that universe in terms of like weird stuff.
I would put The Following closer to like American Horror Story.
Okay, sure. But I'm saying like they have the same kind of tension. I feel
horror
building.
Adjacency.
Yeah. I watched The Madison, which is like what platform is it on? I can't even think now. Anyway, really love it. Like,
what is it on?
You know what? Now I can't even think of who's in it.
It's on Paramount Plus with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Yeah, Michelle Pfeiffer. She's amazing in this.
Oh, Matthew Fox is actually working again?
Yeah. I think the cast is great. It's it's at least right now a limited series. I think there might be a season 2, but it's not 8,000 episodes. It's very cinematic, like just beautiful to look at. Made me think a lot while I was watching it. Really, really enjoyed. Was surprised because I'm not necessarily into A River Runs Through It. I mean, they actually talk about how River Runs Through It is like part of the storyline, but seeing Kurt Russell, he's great. I really like him. And again, Michelle Pfeiffer, where did she go? I mean, I had a crush on her like intensely because of Batman Returns. Like, I think most
she came
people
back
my
a
age...
few years ago, but she's been mostly doing like prime cable for a while. I remember watching her. She was very good as Betty Ford in that First Lady show that was on Showtime a couple of years ago.
Again, don't have cable, so didn't see any of it. But I would recommend this. I think that it's a fun sort of binge watch. Has nothing to do with Dexter in any way, shape, or form. They are like diametrically
Except they're on the same
opposed.
platform.
They're on the same platform. Yeah. And I'm still watching Sheriff Country, because I like that
Is it
stuff.
the one with Miranda Bachran?
Mm-hmm. It's the spin-off of Fire Country, which is the Cal Fire show that I really like that I made my parents start watching. So it's the spin-off. Oh, and then I started watching randomly Nautilus, which is the like retelling of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, because I was watching crap movies this last week and ended up seeing it doesn't matter. There was a thing and there was going down a rabbit hole, and oh yeah, that's a show that I wanted to check out, so I've had that on as background noise. Beautiful to look at. I don't know if I love it though. That's me just telling. That's not a recommendation. That's just me sharing something that I'm watching.
Sure, that works. But I think that is going to be all for us this week. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
First Watch Rewatch is a production of Ronnie Duncan Studios. Our show is mixed, written, and edited by Thomas Duncan. Our technical provider is Riverside FM. Our distributor is Captivate FM.